Okay, so what is good, everyone? Welcome back. Today's video is going to be about leveling all the way from 70 to 80. Honestly, I want to start off by saying that personally, I am not an expert at min-maxing leveling. I think that it's kind of cringe just because it's not really difficult content or anything. I also find that one of the hardest parts about leveling is more so about, like, let's say you were going for realm first. It's more about consistency than it is having the absolute perfect gear and perfect setup and whatnot. But yeah, with that being said, I'm just gonna share what I would do if I was leveling. If I was trying to race for realm first. This isn't what I'm going to do on Wrath Classic, because Wrath Classic I am not doing Utgard Keep 50 times and then Gundrek 50 times. Like that just sounds miserable. I'm not really going to be relaxed, but I'm definitely going to weave in some questing. So I'm actually not going to play this spec. I'll probably play Affliction. But yeah. Another reason I was kind of waiting on this video is that the actual BIS spec is probably going to be dungeon leveling, but we just don't know right now. But as of right now on beta, the numbers that people are getting, I mean, it seems like dungeon leveling is here to stay. So this is specifically for dungeon leveling. It's exactly what I would do. And I want to set up the exact talents and glyphs that I would run. So starting from the top, these 5 talents don't really matter. You're not going to play with imp, so you don't go this, but you could swap like some health out and pick up health stones if you wanted. I would pick up this though. I'd pick up your health or your pet healing. But yeah, moving down, you're going to want both of these because again, this is going to improve your Felguard's damage, as well as give it health and mana, as well as giving yourself health and mana. And again, there's nothing that decent in these talents for leveling, so I just picked those up. This next row, same kind of deal. I would just pick up Soul Link, and this is going to give you about 50 spell power, if I had to guess. It's around 80 once you hit level 80. So I'm going to say this is probably around 50 while you're still leveling, depending on how good your gear is. Or depending on the rank of your fell armor. And yeah, I am too lazy to go check that. So yeah, then you end up having an extra point, so you may as well just go ahead and put it in fell dom. As you're moving down, you would pick this up. This is going to again improve your pet's damage. And here's where you run into the dilemma of having extra talent points. So you notice there's only 3 spots in this row, so you end up having to put 2. So that's why I put the fell dom and then the improved fell dom. But yeah, this is going to make your spell stone better. It's going to give you like 150 haste or something like that. This is going to make it so that your pet doesn't go out of mana. You definitely want this talent, especially while leveling. This talent is less important when you're in raids, just because you have all sorts of different raid buffs hitting. You have like revitalize hitting pets, I think. There's some aspects of a raid that are actually going to give your pet mana, and you don't need this talent as much. But for leveling, you're definitely going to want it. But yeah, moving down. Overall, when it comes to AoE leveling, which is what you're going to be doing, I try and synergize my talents with what is actually going to be good. What's going to be good is you're going to walk in, you're going to use Metamorphosis, and then you're going to use Seed of Corruption over and over. So with that being said, this talent actually isn't that important. You're going to pick it up just because there's nothing really better. But you could even go into something like this, because you're going to be in melee range, and this would actually give you essentially crit cap, but outside of meta form. But yeah, I just go ahead and go this talent. You might actually kill a few bosses. You might want to finish a mob or 2 off. You might have... this wouldn't even really proc though, so it's really not that important. but I pick it up anyway. Moving on, this is going to give your pet more damage. It's going to give you more damage. Yeah, pretty staple talent. This, I would go ahead and just, it's going to increase your Felguard by 20% attack speed. Just macro this into something. I would say just macro it into, like, let's say you have a petattack macro. Maybe even metamorphosis shadow cleave, which we'll get into. But I would just go ahead and macro that in. It's going to have nearly a 50% uptime anyway. So, like, if you were to pop it and all the mobs are dead, it's not the end of the world. And I think that you can even pre-pop this. Again, I'm not a demo main. I'm pretty sure you can pre-pop this before you even pull, and then the cooldown starts running. But anyway, moving down. This is another one where you're not going to get this too often. It's not that big of a deal. This is more of a single target thing, and again, a majority of your damage is going to be AoE. So yeah, moving on to this. This is just going to give you spell crit. It is going to apply to your Seed of Corruption. It's going to apply to your immolation aura, and it's going to apply to your pet just straight up AoE. Like your pet has cleave. It's just going to apply to your pet AoE. Anyway, moving on. You have to take this talent. This talent's going to make it so that your metamorphosis, which is a massive cooldown, it's this beautiful thing. It's your Chad demo form. It's going to make it so that your meta goes from 3 minutes all the way down to a 2-minute cooldown, which is huge. Now you have nearly a 25% uptime on an enormous ability, on top of having immolation aura with it. Like it's kind of the entire reason that you run demonology in heroic or in dungeons is because this just gives you so much AoE that it's actually one. Not only is it one of the best burst AoE in the game, maybe even the best, but it also makes you really tanky. So yeah, you have to go with a lower cooldown. Again, these talents are strictly at level 70 for now. I'll get into how I will spec as you level up and what I would do, but yeah, this is just pure level 70. This talent's going to make it so everybody in your group's going to get 10% more spell power, or everybody's going to get an extra spell power buff based on your spell power. So if you look right here, I had 290 or 2,900 spell power or something like that, and then this gives me the 10% of my current spell power, and it's going to apply this buff to everybody in my group. So you obviously at level 70 you're going to have significantly less, but it's still a massive talent. And then yeah, this is demo form, or meta form rather. Again, this is the whole reason you go demo. Something that people don't know about demo form is you're actually really tanky as well. When you get in melee range, you're actually crit capped. So you're essentially a tank. You may even be tankier than an actual tank because you're crit capped. Your armor's a little bit low, but even still, you can take a hit or two. You don't need to have like a paladin in your group. It is nice to have a paladin in your group so that they can hand a protection you, but you can take a hit or two. It's a defensive as well as a massive offensive cooldown. But yeah, so that's the demo tree for now. We'll come back to it as we level up, but yeah. And then your last 10 points, there's really nowhere else to put this. There's probably a way to like min-max being level 72 or something like that, but you're not gonna respec every fucking level unless you're I don't know. I would never do that. What I vouch for instead is to respec at level 75. So this is current level 70 talents, and for your next points, so level 71, 72, 3, 4, 5, now you're level 75 and you have this. I actually wouldn't do that since you don't get as much benefit from this as you level up. The correct thing, or not correct, but the way that I would do it is I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm level 75. All my pet abilities and stuff were getting a much better crit amount. And then at level 75, I would actually respec and I would pick up Ruin. So now you're level 75, you have Ruin. And yeah, this is just gonna net much more damage than a bunch of pet crit. But as you level up to level from 76 to 80, you would go 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. And then you would go spec to, you know, whatever you're actually wanting to spec. But yeah, that's talents. Glyphs, you're only so for demo, you're only gonna have 2 glyph slots. So those 2 glyph slots, a lot of people are gonna say that you should have Glyph of Metamorphosis, which is incorrect. The reason you don't go that is because when you leave Metaform, you're actually gonna lose your Immolation aura. Personally, I think that Glyph of Life Tap, even if your gear doesn't have that much spirit, I think Glyph of Life Tap, as well as, and I actually don't have it, but it's a Glyph of Felguard. It's going to make your Felguard have 20% more attack power. And yeah, it's just going to net so much more damage than an extra, 3 seconds of Immolation aura. I just don't see it. But yeah, that's Glyphs. And then for your third Glyph, I don't think you get it to level 80. So I wouldn't even... I'm not even going to consider that part of the guide. The one minor glyph that I would make sure that you have is this. This is Glyph of Drained Soul. This just makes it so that you can, if you need shards, which you probably will as demo, you can just spam Drained Soul, and eventually just these ticks here will actually give you, see that? That actually gave me a shard. So yeah, I would have that. The rest of the minor glyphs, not that important. But yeah, that's major and minor glyphs. Now, for your actual abilities and what you're actually going to do as you walk into the mob. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure you have your fell armor on. If you just respec, you have to make sure that you have the correct, updated fell armor, and make sure that it's actually applying this. I've seen stranger bugs in Wrath Classic, so yeah, just don't even worry about it. Just make sure that you get the correct fell armor, you get the correct spellstone. So yeah, let's pretend that this is about 3 or 4 mobs or something like that. First thing you're gonna do, you're actually gonna go Metaform, and you notice how Metaform didn't apply a cooldown or a global cooldown. So that means that you can start using any ability. So I would go Immolate Aura. If you're not close enough to the mob, there is a thing called, where is it? Demon Charge. Am I crazy? Where's my... Here we go. Is that actually ABC order? That is. Okay. But yeah, you're going to want to make sure you have Demon Charge on. And then you're going to want to make sure that you have your Immolation Aura going. And have your either have your pet with a petattack macro, or have it to where it's just on defensive and going in. Personally, I don't... What you can do as well is you can micromanage your intercept. But realistically, I'm not playing demo at 80. I'm just looking to blast. I'm not looking to hit rank 1 gladiator demonology warlock after this, so I just get kind of lazy. I put this on autocast. I have a petattack macro, and I would just go ahead and put your demonic empowerment into that petattack macro, and then yeah, I would just let your immolation aura do its thing, and then I would just seed, just seed everything. Again, make sure you have your life tap up. That's going to just be a DPS increase as well. But yeah, you're going to be you're going to be in melee range. You're going to be potentially tanking a mob for a second or two. But again, it's not too big of a deal. Some other things you can do, while, let's say you have a free global while you're kind of moving into melee range, or you're kind of waiting, let's say your tank is trash, and you're kind of waiting to not pull off of him immediately. you can, as you're moving into melee range, you can start throwing cursive elements onto the mobs. If you have an unholy decay or a boomy, you could start putting up cursive agony on some of the mobs, and then just kind of send in your pet. Then you go meta form once he gets aggro. Then you would have this shadow cleave macroed into an ability. You would have your demonic empowerment macroed into it, and then you would just seed. So slow the video down if I went a little fast. I promise you it's not that hard. But yeah, I would say Demonology is probably the best spec out there. You can play Destro, you can play Affliction, but I don't see it matching demo form at all. So yeah, that's just about everything. When it comes to leveling, obviously there's a whole lot more things that you could do. Anything from swiftness potions, buffs and flasks and all that shit, but I just kind of wanted to focus more on demo. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.